So when it comes to us dudes, what are we getting wrong today as far as eligibility goes? What do we gotta do to pretty much be like, yo, I'm right here?
I think the first thing that we need to understand is eligible for what? What are we attempting to achieve? Are we trying to be eligible for the current dating space, which is, you know, a variety of experiences? Rom mentioned that, and I think you mentioned also that we're more connected, we're more, you know, uh, closer together via like the digital market space, so you can get more of a variety of experiences. There's an
Right.
eligibility component for that. Or are you talking about eligible for a long term relationship or marriage?
What does it take for us to be eligibility just to be in the vicinity? And before people in the chat start going wild, just be like, well, men are the prize. We should be able to choose. Like, no, no, no. We still no because I know we got some cats up in there right now. Like that's gonna be thinking that. But first, what is the eligibility just to get? We'll go ahead and use the scale to get that 92.
You want to take this, cousin?
Yeah,
Oh,
I ain't
I'll
asking
take it.
y'all.
Cause
I, I ain't.
I'm talking to a nine. Hey, I'm in the comments talking to a beautiful 92. That's a
Yeah,
beautiful sister. She is beautiful.
yeah.
That's my
We
heart
don't
right
let.
there.
If you want to use the 92s as an example, and just for anybody for reference, the 92 would be the educated class, the professional class,
Right.
corporate folks who work in an office setting. Some people are still working in virtual or Zoom settings or whatever, slowly getting back into the office. So quick for that. Women who are in that class, if they're not natural 92s, so natural 92s are the ones who are raised, in the upper middle class, who are the daughters of the doctors, the daughters of the business owners, the daughters of the first or second generations of passed down wealth. So they already have a track. They already have cotillions. They already have sororities that they pledge to. So they have spaces where their game is people that they know. So that's a whole other group. Now, if you want to talk about 92 climbers, you need a body, okay? Because let's be clear, 92s, they're making their money. 92s, they speak the language of corporate America. 92s, they are taught in the school of, womenism or feminine, however you want to say it. So they have they have a mentality of, they're equal to the man. They can do everything by themselves. They have an independent mindset, and so all of the provision and protection that was historic, that goes out the window because of the modern society and how we're set up. So what you would need to bring to a space of a modern 92 octane or a woman in the corporate class is sharpness of your presentation, meaning having
Mm-hmm.
the best body for your
Yeah.
frame,
Mm-hmm.
having a curated, uh, you know, um, outfit or clothing game,
Mm-hmm.
uh, being well kept, have your fragrance game on point. Shout out to the ASB Holy Ghost. But understand what type of lifestyle you're attempting to present. You do need to own your masculinity,
Yeah.
because women in the corporate space, that they're used to corporate friendly guys, and those tend to be more uh, flexible guys who are willing to go with the flow. Because if you're a masculine master in a corporate space, unless you're transitioning out of that, you got your own thing going on, you have to follow those policies. You have to follow those sensitivity training programs. You have to follow, what they dictate from HR. And a lot of those policies are contrary to masculinity. So the women in those spaces are used to guys being wishy-washy and just putting on appearances. But what they really want is something that is outside of those spaces. So off the bat, there's the man who has developed his body to the best presentation that he can as far as being fit and healthy, who understands his
Mm-hmm.
scent, who understands how to dress and basically present himself in a way that speaks to his style.
Even though we'll have some ladies who might say otherwise, as someone who's dealt with the 92s primarily and stuff, regardless of what they say, if you look at who they go for, particularly the 92 climbers who had to build up, they still want that physicality in a man, because you get a whole lot of them. They'll say, yeah, I want this, this, and this. But then when you present them with what they actually say, all of a sudden they'll find problems with it. But then all of a sudden, when that guy who still has that raw masculine presence due to his body build, his physicality, but is also in that space, they work their way up themselves, or sometimes not even did that much. They're the ones who are saying, oh yeah, I did this with this woman, I did that. Because here's the thing, regardless of what's happening socially, sexually, there's something totally different. That's why, I've talked about the sexual shadow world and everything, and that's been the biggest problem. That's the biggest frustration. Indeed, in the past, I've done live seminars where we had mostly professional men, mostly men with that. But if the women who were in the same space, they were looking at these men, they were like very clear that no, they weren't feeling the men. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. They got the degrees, they got the money. But then when you had that guy who had a certain body build and a certain presence, oh yeah, they were feeling him. And some of them publicly would say one thing, because I'll never forget when I was in one of those environments and I had one of those 92s, one of those corporate women. She argued with me because we were talking specifically about Mr. Goodbar. She argued with me. Like most of the other women were being quiet. This woman, I mean, it was almost to the point you thought we'd fight. I think I talked about this before. I know I've talked about it online. Now,
Yeah.
publicly, she said one thing. When we got outside, when it was just me, her, and a few of her close friends who knew she was full of it, she said, damn right, she got a muscular young boy. So it's like, we got to just be honest about some stuff out here. It's like, it's one thing to say, but it's kind of like when another incident when I was first started selling my book, Nice Guys and Players. And we had a Black Expo. We over in the corner, we set up in an area with 4 crews of male exotic dancers. I'll never forget, stood a couple corporate type, professional women stood in front of my table saying, look at all these girls going crazy, yet the women are steadily taking pictures in front of my table. I'm like, excuse me, ladies, you're blocking my stuff. I'm trying to make some sales here. So, it's just, and there's no shame in it. I don't think any women should have a problem. They still need to be physically turned on. They putting up their best. They going to the gym. They working out. So fair exchange is no robbery.
Right. You know what? And then somebody in the chat, chat was going so fast. Somebody in the chat mentioned it's all exterior. But what about interior? Now, me personally,
That's fair.
I used to try to do the interior thing, but the thing is, if you can like show too much, show too much that desire that you like,
Mm-hmm.
they have a tendency to back up. And of course, if
Mm-hmm.
anybody has ever dated, because I did the most professional that I probably ever dated, when I used to live in Houston, was a doctor. They were a resident, but I still considered them prestigious. You're a doctor. By the
Yeah.
time you're a resident, you finish med school and everything. And the moment I
Yeah.
pretty much wanted to be exclusive with them, they were just like, I'm not ready to go there yet.
Yeah.
So the moment I was ready to pretty much stop playing around, stop messing with everybody. It's like, okay, I want to kick it with this one because this person is smart. And me, anybody knows me personally, personality and smarts actually that's attractive to me in a woman. You know, being articulate,
Yeah.
you know, exchanging, you know, a good dialogue to where we could talk about anything. I love that, and that's what I had in this person. But
Hmm.
it was almost as if it wore out as welcome.
I'm gonna tell you what. It depends. It depends on how they saw you and what they wanted in particular. Because yes, women, I don't care who they are, they want something on the inside, and that really just comes down to personality compatibility.
Right.
And that's all that was really. Sometimes you either click or you don't. It's like okay, you like a lot of ladies might just want the sex from you and nothing else, and then
Yeah.
they'll deal with they still want that personality click with all the other stuff, but that's really an issue there. It's like, can they find that guy who has both? Because like with my book Nice Guys and Players, it sold a lot with women because that's the whole premise. That man who has the sex appeal of the player but also the general personality of the nice guy. And it's hard for a lot of ladies. This is coming from ladies now. They
Yeah.
say it's hard for them to find it. I'm serious. That's why I've had several. It got back to me several women, even though I've made it clear my book is for men. They say, "Nah, this is really for us."
To your point, Reese, it depends on the age of the woman and where she is in her career.
Mm.
You used the example of a resident doctor. They're still in their party phase. They are, still in their, you know, um,
Mhm.
whatever you want to call it, whole phase, exploratory phase, or whatever you want to say. So they're not looking for that um,
Mhm.
compatible, Hallmark card, Christmas card partner, right? Especially if they have a man who's outside of their professional, sphere of influence. Now, older professional women, and let's be clear,
Mhm.
everything that we discuss is constantly shifting. We're in a period of
Mhm.
time where traditional values and traditional understandings about how things go are shifting. Social behaviors and attitudes are shifting. You mentioned a doctor. Rom and I definitely have experience with doctors. I know I have experience with lawyers and other types of professionals, office managers, whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot of women are in this modern, like right now, today, November 2021. They're trying to figure it out because they have what they want. They have the ability to get the attractive guy in bed. They have the ability to get the friend zone guy to move their furniture. They have the ability
Mhm.
to get the fly me out guy to give them some exotic experience. So they have their roster situation set up, but also they have this desire to uh, put this mask and put this Christmas card. We're in cuffing season. Somebody asked me a good question, and I'm gonna make a video about this. For us, bringing it back to the men, if and when we have a roster, what do we do with our roster when it's cuffing season? How does it change during cuffing season? That question can be applied to a lot of women because their tastes and their desires change and shift depending on the season. We just got out of cuffing season. This is the finals, right? Going into the holidays. It's going to shift again once we turn the corner of New Year's. It's going to shift again when we round the home base towards Valentine's Day. And it's going to
Yeah.
shift again come next spring into next summer. Then it's hot girl summer 2.0, depending on how open the world is. So to be clear, we have a lot of things that are converging, at the same time. And I'm being specific to the dating scene. That's why I want to make sure we're talking about eligibility for dating
Yeah, for
versus
dating.
long-term relationship and or marriage, because those are two different spaces that an eligible man would need to have himself prepared for. So
Well, it sounds like okay. Since we have a lot of grown-ups here, anybody can date, obviously. So let's go
Mhm.
ahead and get it to the commitment part. slash marriage. And I want to go ahead and split the two because a lot of people now they're all anti-marriage. Everybody's scared of marriage.
Mm,
I don't want to lose half my shit and blah, 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 blah. When really it's a commitment problem. It's not a marriage problem.
yeah,
So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the commitment. Now, I really don't hear anything about love as much anymore. I hear what about the connection, which I'm
yeah.
still trying to figure that one out because like the connection just replace love. So yeah, let's still stay within the marriage
Well,
community.
that's and you know that's a really bigger. That's a whole cultural thing. I remember I saw something just on IG saying we don't hear the love songs anymore. And if you listen to how people talk, a lot of people just talking about hooking up or people talking about getting money on one hand. Some dudes saying, "Hey, let's get that booty on another hand." And all of that. And that's more like I said, that's more big. That's more cultural. It's like the culture as it is now. Because you don't have if we're gonna talk about love and the different definitions of it, yeah, people are not talking about that. And
Right.
that's really just a sign of the times. Like I said, we can't put that on the men or the women overall. What's happening overall? People are looking to get what they can. A lot of people, even in marriage, sometimes people it might be some business decision, and then some people getting into even if they get married, getting into open relationships. There's a lot of talk about polyamory and everything, which I mean, and let's be clear, I don't have an issue with all of that, but a lot of times when we're talking about that connection, it's not as much talk about it. It's like, okay, what can I get out of this? Friends with benefits or something. And like I said, it's overall culture, no matter what. And so that's even a bigger discussion. If we're going to talk about, okay, let's bring marriage into it, let's bring love into it and everything, and that goes way deeper. But it's just that's one of the things. That's one of the things. Now people can still, of course, people still get married and people still find a connection out there. But overall, like they fight against everything and still come together. But not like it might have been maybe I don't know 40 years ago, 30 years ago. Shoot, maybe even 10 years ago. It's not the same.